everyone to episode 4 of Unfiltered Podcast. For those that don't know me, I am Yannah Rose and I am the founder of the CEO Digital Lab, designed to support hair, beauty and aesthetic practitioners through things like digital resources. We've got the podcast, there's mentorship and very soon membership as well. So yeah, there's lots going on. And my guest tonight, I'm really, really excited for. It is Nora, okay? And we have got a hell of a lot to cover on this podcast, haven't we, girl?
Too much to talk about, honestly. I don't know how long this is going to be for, but I think there's lots to talk about.
Yeah, so if you've not got a cup of tea yet already, everyone, go and get a cup of tea because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be juicy and we've got a lot that we want to speak about because something that I'm really big on my podcast is speaking about pulling back all the curtains and speaking about things truthfully and honestly, because in this industry, it's got such a glamorized look on the surface, which I think you'll agree with, Nora, won't you? But actually there's so much going on behind the scenes that people don't tend to really speak about. So that's what the aim is with my podcast. I want to strip it all back and be totally honest. It's not about just showcasing all the really successful big stories. I think everyone should have a voice at the end of the day. So perfect. So Nora, babe, I'm going to hand it to you. I want you to introduce yourself, okay? And then I want you to tell us a little bit about how you got started in aesthetics. What was your background?
Well, honestly, I am so worried about this question because this is going to take up the whole podcast. The whole meeting. There's so much to talk about, and I did message Yannah because I was like, I could almost minimise this part in terms of as to why I got into aesthetics.
Yeah.
But there's so many layers to it. So I'll start from the beginning. My name is Nora. A lot of people know me as Nora. No, honestly, I do not mind. I respond to anything. But my name is actually pronounced Nora. I'm originally from Syria, and I'm absolutely obsessed with anything to do with beauty. But I'll give you a little bit of context in terms of, like I say, how I got into the aesthetics industry, because my background is actually in a completely different industry, and I've been working alongside doing the aesthetics business in another industry that's, like I say, so different, very, very heavily regulated. Been working there for about 12 years and 10 years in management, and the last 3 years as an operations manager. So managing a team of leaders with teams of up to 50, and it's absolutely crazy because, you wouldn't think anyone in that kind of role would do something like aesthetics. And I thought, I do not want to be boxed into one category. Anything that I want to put my mind to, I want to be able to do it. Because although, like I say, my job really does ground me and I'm such a people's person and I absolutely love doing it, I've always had a passion for aesthetics and everything beauty related. But where the story started with aesthetics is, so with my Arabic background, aesthetics, way back then, I'm talking about years and years ago, was completely normal. In fact, more people would get work done than the opposite way. And what I found is, in the UK, I mean, I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago, I can remember when I started getting treatments done, it was like a massive taboo subject. It's like, why are you doing this? And I was thinking, well, everyone around me from my culture, we get these treatments done and it's completely normal. Like I say, with Arabs, it's completely normal to get filler and Botox and all that kind of stuff. And I can remember when I was about 10 years old, my mum had Botox. Bear in mind, I did not know what Botox was. And I could just see it was day 2. And as you know, Yannah, Botox does not kick in on day 2. But I looked at her face and I said to my mum, I says, you look different. What have you had done? Like, what have you done? You look different. And my mum was smiling almost like in disbelief. And I said, but Mum, you look different. Like, what have you had? And I'll never forget that conversation.
Yeah.
I was looking at my dad and, she was kind of like giggling, kind of smiling. And at the time she was trying to explain what she had done, but I didn't quite get it. But I could kind of see it more in her confidence, in her smile, that she had something done rather than the physical appearance of it. Yeah. So that was really, really interesting. But fast track, by the time I got into college, because at the time I was in school, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I had the whole monobrow, the whole moustache on, it was all happening. At the time, my mum was like, you cannot do anything. And she even got me, she cut my hair into a bob haircut. I can remember crying my eyes out. And my mum was pretty much like saying to me what I can and can't do. Naturally, being in school, that was the case. But I was so eager to kind of explore what I wanted. I wanted to do my eyebrows. I wanted to put a bit of hair extensions in. And when I went into college, that's exactly what I did. Started experimenting with different things with my brows, with my hair. And then at the time, bearing in mind, like I say, with my Arabic background, me and my friends decided we wanted to get our tongues pierced, and that was the thing back in the day.
It was. Even I had mine done. I only took it out about 6 years ago because it was ruining my teeth. Like, so bad, but yeah.
It was a thing, wasn't it? It was like so cool to get it done.
Yeah.
And I can remember telling my mum about it, and she was like, "What do you want to get done? Your tongue?" Absolutely not, because you just cannot get that done. From a religious perspective, from a cultural perspective, it was like an absolute no-no. But I wanted to get my tongue pierced. So anyway, I went with my friends at the time, and my mum did say to me, she said, "I swear that you will never go and get your tongue pierced anywhere." But I went anyway with my friends, and at that point I was like, fine, I'm not going to get my tongue pierced. But my friends did, and at the time I was so fascinated by this piercer that was going to literally put this needle in my friend's tongues. And I was like, how do you know it's safe? How do you know you're not going to kill my friends off right now with this massive needle that you're going to be using? And I was asking him all these questions. To be fair, I'm so surprised he never kicked me out. Because I was like, well, how do you know what you're doing? How do you know, where you're going to put it? And then he was actually explaining to me, look, there's areas of the tongue that you cannot pierce. There's the veins there in the middle, it's fine, and he was explaining all this stuff to me. And I remember going back home thinking, so my mum swore that I couldn't go and get my tongue pierced anywhere. That's what she said. But what she didn't say is that I couldn't pierce my tongue myself.
Yeah, so she needs to be a little bit more clear with the wording. So you was like, I'm just going to do it myself. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And it does sound absolutely crazy, but I kept on looking into it. I was like, half fixated on the fact that I wanted my tongue pierced, and I kept on researching what can I do to make it safe. Looked at videos. I do not recommend this to anyone, by the way.
yeah.
But yeah, do not try this at home. And I got the sterile needle, got the clasp and everything. And I did at the age of 16, which is crazy looking back at it. I pierced my own tongue. I did actually go, I mean, when my mum found out, I was in a lot of trouble, believe me. But by the time I did actually go, and she said, look, just make sure you go and get it done professionally in the future, all this kind of stuff, and go and get it checked out. And I did. I went to go and get it checked out by someone who was a professional, and he said, so where did you go and get your tongue pierced? And I said, I did it myself. And he's like, are you a professional? And I said, no, but I really wanted to do it. My mum said I couldn't do it. And at the time he said, look, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you've done a really, really good job, but do not do it again.
No.
Do not do this again. Like I say, he said the way that I did it, he says, you did it so perfectly, but this is the thing with me, is when I focus on something and when I want to get it done, I will do it. And like I say, I do not recommend it. It was a very silly thing back then.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how you did that, because me, when I was doing aesthetics, and I wouldn't even inject myself. I would never even, not even a B12. I would not even do myself a B12. Like, absolutely not. As far as I would go with microneedling, I wouldn't do anything else myself. I just couldn't do it. So the fact that you pierce your own tongue, like, wow.
It's absolutely crazy thing, like looking back at it. So I know what you mean, because I know a lot of injectors that don't, inject their own face. And I will kind of touch on that a little bit sort of later on. But I think going really into it, I found it fascinating that you could pierce the skin and decorate it. And, and I didn't know like so much about cosmetic work and things like that. But by the time I was 18, I mean, at that point, like I say, I took the tongue piercing and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. But by the time I was 18, I can remember taking my mum as well to a Botox appointment to a doctor. And she was having a Botox appointment, and I was really, really fascinated. But what was so interesting, bearing in mind I wasn't the patient having the treatment done, the doctor turned around and said to me, frown for me, and I frowned, and he says, you need to get Botox. I said, I'm only 18.
Yeah.
No, you need to get Botox, otherwise you look like your mum. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that was the rudest thing that you could say to anyone. Yeah. And like, he was a doctor, and all I thought to myself is, if I even wanted to get Botox done, like, for goodness me, he definitely gave me a complex, I didn't even think about getting it done. But if I wanted to get it done, it's definitely not going to be with him. Like I say, he was a GP as well. He had his own practice, very, very well known in my local town. But yeah, absolutely, that was the worst thing to say to me. But fast back, when I ended up working full-time in Morrill, I did find that I started to get migraines quite a lot, and even my prescriber, I know she started getting it done for the same reason, for Botox. And
Millie,
the the best thing that I ever did for my migraines.
Love
I went
that.
back to my 2 week review with this doctor thinking, yep, I'm really happy with what you did. I said to him, look, I'm flying out tomorrow to Thailand, by the way, before he topped me up. And I said, is there anything else that you think I could get done maybe? Do you think, what about my lips? Bear in mind, Yannah, I had quite big lips to begin with.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, he said, you can get your lips done. And I said, well, how much is it? And he said, £350. And at the time, I thought, that's a lot of money. I haven't got that kind of money for a lip filler. And I said, no, it's too much, because I'm flying out, I've got loads of expenses. He said, what if, he says, I'll do a deal right now. And he says, and I'll do it for you for 250 if you do it today.
Knowing full well that you was flying out abroad the next day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I was young, I was naive, and I thought, he's a doctor, he knows what he's talking about, so yeah, do it.
Yeah. And I think I just want to touch on that where she mentioned it. I think because you trust medical professionals, even in personal, I've trusted medical opinions, or when we've been for appointments or whatever, or I've gone to A&E or whatever, I've trusted, and I've had friends that have trusted, medical advice, and it's actually worked out to be really bad. I mean, my dad had heart failure. He was on a heart transplant list, awaiting a heart transplant. He was a very, very unwell man. He didn't feel well. He went to A&E, and they sent him home with sleeping tablets. He got sepsis and he died. He had sepsis. So and I think that's a real big concern, is that you trust medical professionals' advice, because we're programmed to, aren't we? Respect the NHS. Don't get me wrong, there's some absolutely fantastic. The NHS is fantastic. I do think it's fantastic, but I think the lack of advice, and now that's why, in a way, when people step into aesthetics that are medics, they shout about it. Oh, well, I'm medic. But that's a classic example there of, because they're a medic, they've actually done something that a lot of non-medics would not do, wouldn't even dream of.
Do you know what, by the way, I did not know that about you, and that's absolutely awful, because like you say, we trust medics. We think sometimes, we give them almost like this God complex, they know absolutely everything, and they absolutely get things wrong. And I did say this because I know we're going to be talking about medics versus non-medics, and I don't want it to be that way, because there's absolutely some brilliant medics out there.
Amazing
medics. But the point that I want to make is that medics in the aesthetics industry, a lot of them, unfortunately, will use their title to fearmonger and to profit. And I absolutely don't agree with that. And I actually got into a bit of a debate with someone about this, which I will go into. But I think what I will do, I will take it a little bit back to kind of explain a little bit about my experience with this doctor, because like I say, I was flying out the next day. My lips, he just put the whole mill in, and my lips were already big to begin with, and they were horrendous. I can remember leaving and thinking, what have I done? Maybe it's swelling, maybe it will go down. Even my partner at the time saying, what have you done? Family and friends thinking, what have you done? So I always preach about duck lips and Sasha's eye, because that's exactly what I had done.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm not going to trust him, and I will go and find someone else. And when I found someone else, bear in mind, I had like this part of my lip, and it kind of like slanted downwards because it was heavily migrated from the bottom with how he injected. Went to someone else, and instead of them holding my hand and saying to me, no, you need to dissolve your filler, what they did say to me, oh, we'll just put some more filler in. And that's exactly what they did. They put some more filler in. And eventually I did have to get them dissolved because they looked horrendous. And then I kept on going to different places, medics, non-medics. And to be honest with you, I was the kind of person that would go into an appointment and I'd ask 1,000,001 questions. At the end of the day, they're going to inject my face, and I was nervous about it. But they made me feel so inconvenient. Every single time, it's like, I've got another client and you're asking too many questions. I can never remember having a consultation. Not with one medic, not with one non-medic, not one consultation. It was always transactional. Some sort of form that you have to tick. There you go, tick, done, let's do my treatment, and out you go. There was none of that care. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do my own treatments myself, because I didn't mind having a needle to my face.
Because with you will know that it's your own safety at the end of the day, isn't it? So you've had like a really poor experience with going elsewhere. I mean, to be fair, I didn't even have my own Botox done, skin boosters, marketing. Never did anything until I actually qualified in the industry myself.
Oh wow,
Nothing.
okay.
Zilch.
Yeah.
But my best friend also qualified at the same time, so she would inject me, but she would inject herself. But I just couldn't. I just literally couldn't. Oh, so much consultations are compulsory. That is, yeah, it's scary.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I think if you're going to an appointment, like, so obviously I do a lot, as you know, I do a lot of mentorship work, one-on-one with clients and things like that. And you'll have a lot of messages from clients saying, how much do you think I'm going to need for this? Or should I book in a 5 mil face package or whatever? But, like she says, I can't tell you that on a message. You're going to have to come in for a consultation. I need to be working with it. And sometimes you don't fully know how much you need to use until you're actually working with the face.
Yeah.
And I just think, someone could book in for 4 or 5 mil, but actually they don't need 4 or 5 mil. So I think it's really important that we start approaching consultations as, they have to happen, but also the public as well need to be like, yeah, do you know what? I do want a consultation. A consultation is a good thing. It's not an inconvenience as such.
It's not, and it's going to prevent you also from having complaints as an injector, because you're setting the scene, you're saying these are all the potential complications that could happen to you. And it's not consent if they don't know what could happen to them. It is not consent. You need to know what's happening to your body, what's being injected to you, what's going to happen to you. It's not consent, it's just a tick box. And what I don't like is tick box. I absolutely hate that. So like I say, that's why I thought I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to go and do this course, and I'm going to do my own treatments, and that's the way that I decided to go with it. But in the process, sort of, if I was to rewind back 3 years, my mum had also built her lash business, and I helped her with it. She couldn't speak English very well. I was messaging all my clients, set up her Instagram for her. So we built a really, really good relationship with the clients, and they knew me through messages and some people face to face. And like I say, I was working full time, and I still am, although I'm on maternity leave. But yeah, that was the plan. Like I say, that I was just going to support my mum. But at the same time, I started just uploading some of my work. Some of my colleagues came to me, some of mum's clients, my friends, and I didn't know what a good consultation looks like, because I'd never had that myself. But what I did is I kind of started doing it what I wanted from a consultation. Like, I wanted someone to tell me about the complications. I wanted to go through this. I wanted someone to listen to me, to tell me why here in the first place. Are you sure you want to go ahead, knowing the risks, that kind of thing. And my clients had never experienced anything like it. They were like, no, you can tell that you care. And through word of mouth, my business literally naturally grew. And it wasn't by almost intention, if that made sense. It was just something that I loved. And I had almost like this competition with myself. Every time a client would come to me, I want the next appointment to be better. So if a client bruised, I don't want them to bruise next time. So what can I do? And I'd research, and I almost like became obsessed with it. They swelled a lot this time. What can I do next time? And I became really fascinated with it. Doctors would come to me, like say, they wouldn't understand about the complications that would come through. And I thought, oh, well, I thought medics know about all this stuff. And I was so wrong, because you're not trained this stuff as a medic. And there's a massive, I've spoken to doctors and nurses, and they've said everything that I've done in aesthetics, I've not been taught it until I actually had that training. I was trained with medics.
Yeah, that has been a common statement from every single medic that I have spoke with, in my own career. They've all said, I didn't learn anything that I've learned in aesthetics when I trained to be a medic, a nurse, or whatever it is that they became. They don't learn about the in-depth of the facial arteries and all that type of stuff. And every single person I spoke to says, yeah, I wouldn't know any of this. It wasn't me doing my aesthetics course. So we all do get the exact same training. Like, it is, so yeah.
It's 100% true. And I can remember because I got trained with a doctor, and I can remember alongside me, I had medics with me that were training and non-medics. Yeah. And what I can say to you is the questions that I was asking, because of how fascinated I was, the people, after, like I say, that was training with me said, how did you know to ask these questions? But it's because I was so interested, whereas the reasons that they were going into it, and it's a difficult one to say. I think if you're going into aesthetics just for money, I definitely would say to you, this is probably controversial, you are in the wrong business. You are dealing with people here. Okay, so if you're going into it for money, you are in the wrong industry. And that's exactly what they did. They went into it for money. And what I would say is the scale of how I've built my business versus them, they've hardly had any clients because their mindset was, I want to leave my job and I'm going to go into this for a money aspect. And you have to have that care, that level of care as well.
You
So,
do, you do. And I think, and again, this has been spoken about in every single episode that I've done. If you are coming into the industry with money signs, thinking I'm going to make a shed load of money, like this is just going to set me up, with not actually thinking about, well, actually, this is real client care needs to be at the very front of everything that you do. And if you haven't got that general care and that general need for safety, etc., then please don't enter this industry, because you're actually really seriously impacting the industry as a whole, because you're going to go and mess something up. These people that have died because of, certain treatments and things like that. It's serious. It's so serious.
Yannah, it is no joke. It is the people that I speak to, and I didn't realise the scale of it because I actually had, and to be fair, when this gets recorded, my content creator at the time that supported me, she came alongside me and she noticed every single client that came on during the content days that she helped me record had a bad experience elsewhere, like a really bad experience, like traumatic experiences. And I almost became desensitized to it, honestly, Yannah. And I know it sounds really bad because every client was saying to me, I had this traumatic experience and this is what happened. And I was kind of thinking, well, this is like the norm now, but it's not normal. I had a client and, soon to meet her, and I cannot wait to meet her. And bless her, we've been communicating through messages for the longest time. And she didn't leave her house for 6 months because of what this doctor did to her. And he actually ended up blocking her. When she complained about, the photos that she sent me, if she went to the media with what she had done, and I don't think she will, but maybe she will one day, who knows, you would not believe that what she received had been with a medic. And like I say, at the end of the day, what he ended up doing was just blocking her, and there wasn't that level of care, and it was just the money signs. And actually he rejected, he said, well, I never did your treatment. He made out that he never even did her treatment in the first place.
What?
And this was a reputable doctor in London with thousands and thousands of followers. So yeah, and like I say, this is not just an isolated case, unfortunately.
No. Out of curiosity, because I know that people that are watching this are going to be thinking, like, what? You obviously not got to say the names or anything like that, where it was at. But what treatment was it? Was it lips? Was it something different?
She had filler, so she had lip filler, she had tear trough filler, and because of the botched work that had taken place, she had to go and get it dissolved. And the dissolving that was done, they over dissolved the tear trough area. They over dissolved the lips, and the thing is, which is
going to cause damage, tissue damage.
Tissue damage, and that repair and the amount of money that you have to spend to then repair and regenerate that skin that has been like literally all that trauma through dissolving, it is a lot. But also that emotional impact that comes from when treatments that do go wrong. And here's the thing, Yannah, I will never say, okay, I've done over 10,000 treatments. I had one client that had a sensitivity, but the level of care that my client had was second to none. I had a doctor, again, a doctor who supports non-medics. I FaceTimed him, he supported me, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I monitored her, I didn't ignore her, I took her to my prescriber, Millie. We got other steroids, we got everything that she needed. I continuously checked in with her. The thing is that I'm not trying to say is non-medics or medical, that we're exempt from complications. What I'm trying to say is, what we do when a complication happens is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. How do we care? Not just block someone, like,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that in itself, well, that is shocking. I've not heard that one yet, but I do, I get it. I know it happens, but no, to block someone when there's something, wrong, you are not having that care for your client, rather than holding your hands up going, oh yeah, I've mess up here. Let's hold my hands up. Let's get you fixed. This is what we're going to do. But no, I'll just block you instead. Like,
I have heard and I have seen documentaries where they were recording like an injector who was doing BBLs. I'm not sure if you saw it, doing BBL filler, and that's exactly what he was doing. He was blocking, his clients when they were saying, "Oh, I think there's something not right," ignoring all the signs of an infection. Some of them ended up having sepsis, almost lost their lives. And again, this is someone who's ended up doing treatments on celebrities, and celebrities were endorsing him.
Do you know what? I'm now wondering something, because one of my friends, I've known her since school, right? She literally lives very near to me. We're still really good friends. She had liquid BBL at a place that was very well known, lots of followers on Instagram. Also showcased herself as a celebrity clinic, you know, and they nearly killed her. She ended up in hospital with sepsis, severely unwell, very nearly lost her life. She's a mum of two, like absolutely no care whatsoever. And she said when she was having it done, she said the pain was absolutely excruciating. She knew in that moment that something was not right, that something wasn't right. And you know, I think it's concerning some other treatments that are now coming out. I mean, you can now have filler put into your boobs, like you know.
Yeah.
And also men's bits as well. They're doing it for that now. Like, what?
But have you noticed how the trends, like, you cannot keep up with them at all?
No.
And you know, I'm massively against this because, you know, some people think I'm a bit of a skeptic, and you know, but you know, any treatment that I do in clinic now, I'm trialing. I always have to do trials now, and if it's not approved, I first of all have to try it on myself, you know, on my family, my friends, you know, contain it to a small, you know, group of clients before I say, oh, by the way, I've seen something on TikTok, or I've seen something, oh, and all these injectors are using it. Brilliant, it sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
And then just start injecting people left, right, and centre. This is exactly what's happening because it is a unregulated industry, and it's so easy to get hold of this stuff. So easy to get hold of filler, let's be honest. And also Botox. I wish I could share my screen, but I'll have to send you some of the receipts after. I had a company reach out to me, a South Korean company. Now, South Korea are amazing at some of the stuff that they have, you know, polynucleotides, you know, fillers that they have, they're amazing.
Skincare is incredible, isn't it?
Exactly, it's absolutely incredible. The devices that they have, they're very advanced. But there is also the dark side of some of the, you know, cosmetic treatments in South Korea. And I had this company reach out to me and saying to me, look, you know, we offer Botox. So it's basically what we're classing as fake Botox that's, you know, spreading around the UK. And it is from South Korea. And the cost of it was around £40 to £50. And I thought, let me just keep, you know, going with this conversation. They messaged me on Instagram. I can't remember the amount of followers, but they had hundreds of thousands of followers. And a lot of injectors that I follow, unfortunately, follow them. And I did ask them, I said, you know, I'm really worried. I was trying to like almost humour them, you know, are you sure that I can use this Botox? And they were like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. I said, do you have doctors using this? Do you have medics? Do they use it? And they were saying, yeah, you know, basically you don't have to have a prescriber. And they were really funny about it. They said you can get it. So here's the thing. You know, when it comes to Botox, majority of the cases that have gone wrong with Botox, it is because they're using unlicensed Botox.
Yeah.
And people need to realise this about Botox. It's one of the strictest criteria in the UK to actually inject Botox. The criteria is so strict to have that licensing.
Literally.
So strict.
So I think what I want to touch on there as well with that is for public safety and for them to be aware of this. Whenever you have a Botox appointment, you should be having a face-to-face with a prescriber. They should be doing you a prescription. It's like going to the doctors and them saying to you, right, we're going to, you know, prescribe you these antibiotics, go to the pharmacy, go and collect it. This is what you all need to be doing. Don't be skipping this step, because that will, honestly, it means that you've not got a prescription that's in your name, which means the injector is also not insured to treat you. So I think that's really important to highlight what the new process should be. You should be having your face-to-face with your prescriber, and then you'll go on to have your treatment done. And what I would always do, because I used to do it with mine as well, with all of my clients, I would show them their box with their name on it, with their prescription on it, so they knew it was there. And I always say to people, it's a real big red flag if you walk into a Botox appointment and your Botox is already out, ready, drawn up.
Absolutely.
Very concerning, because until you've mapped out a client's face and know where you're going anyway, how do you know how much units they need? I think that is just insane to me.
You know, the amount of clients that I've had their Botox done elsewhere, and they'll say to me, it's only lasted them 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll say to them, do you know what brand that you've had? No. Okay. Did you see a prescriber? No. And unfortunately, I do know a lot of places in Nottingham, and I can't believe that they're operating in this way. And it is really worrying, to be honest with you, Yannah, because, you know, these are people that have got thousands and thousands of followers. You'll get these clients on model slots, and, you know, on the same day, you know that they're not using their Botox prescription. You know that they're splitting that Botox with multiple clients as well. And this is exactly what they're doing. And you're getting a quarter of your dose or half of your dose, and that's why you're paying like such a small amount in comparison to what you should be paying for your Botox.
It's crazy. And I just with the social media following as well, I've been one of them people myself where I got fooled into thinking, well, this person's got, hundreds of thousands of followers. I totally trust this person. I'm not going to go into details about it on here. Because it did go a little bit further. I will tell you at a different point when I kind of allowed to actually speak about it. I will speak about it in public one day. But she had hundreds of thousands of followers. I trusted her and was going to train with her in something. Once I had then paid for my training, I then found that actually it was 100% illegal. Illegal. So I then said to her, right, I've done this extra research. Actually, this is illegal. All the information you've given me is not incorrect. She tried arguing with me. And I was like, no. What you're doing is illegal. She sent me my money back. I did get a refund, but then she blocked me immediately. But I know because there's people that are still training with her because they tag her in things, I've trained with so-and-so, like I'm not going to say, obviously, I'll get done. But yeah, there's, it to me, if she didn't have all them 100,000 followers, I can tell you right now, people would challenge her more. But because she's got all of these, they don't challenge her. They're like, well, she's doing really well. She's living this Dubai lifestyle, very glam. Like, she looks like she's got, her head screwed on, a big businesswoman, but actually what she's doing is 100% illegal.
But it's so easily done, and this is what people don't realise. It's so easily done, and people think that you can do a 2-day course, and I started off with a 3-day course. Let me tell you, but I had to keep paying. I've paid over £10,000 in courses. The course that I initially did was not enough. I had to continuously train and upskill myself, and people will see, oh well, someone's advertising a course for £1,000. Let me just go and study with them, and let me train, and now I can do Botox, filler, the lot. You don't understand that is never going to be enough. And actually, you are putting not only your patient at risk, you're putting yourself at risk as well. You're opening yourself to like claims.
Massively.
But also, how do you sleep at night when you know that you could have botched someone's face? That you can literally impact the rest of their life. It is life changing. If someone is left with with botched work, it is life changing. Like say my client, I was talking to, she hasn't left the house previously for 6 months. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Insane. And no, it is, if that's again, if you're coming into the industry just to make the money and you're not bothered about the safety aspects of it and your clients, then please just don't come into it, because
please just leave, because you are making it worse for people, like myself and yourself as well, Yannah, that we're doing everything that we can to do our work honestly, and then you get some people that then tarnish the reputation of non-medics because they kind of group us all into one category, right? Oh, a non-medic has done this, therefore we're all in the same category. No, we're absolutely not. And like I say, the same thing with medics and non-medics. I cannot wait for this aesthetics industry to be regulated, but I also go back to that point, it should not be at the expense of non-medics who are earning an honest living.
Yeah, and I think as well, before these regulations do come into place, I really do think that they need to be, it's okay for someone from the top to make all of these decisions, because if they don't actually understand what the industry is, it's like now, because they brought in the regulations and the face-to-face prescribing, now a lot of people are moving to black market Botox. They've made it worse. Black market Botox is now absolutely rife everywhere, bigger than it ever has been before, because they brought in face-to-face prescribing. So they really need to make sure that they've got a deep understanding of the industry, and that yes, it's okay with them focusing, obviously we want them to focus on the client safety and things like that, but no, don't just say, well, you're a medic so you can do what you want, but you're a non-medic so off you go. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Although a lot of this, unfortunately, is being pushed by biased, medics that are pushing the industry to go into, okay, medics only, and doctors wanting to try and get all these non-medics out, because how amazing would it be to get all these really talented non-medics, out of this industry, so the industry isn't as saturated as it is now. I know people say the industry is saturated. I think there's enough clients for absolutely everyone, by the way. But anyway, if doctors, do take full control over this industry, I say doctors predominantly, but nurses, prescribers. And by the way, again, I just want to go back to this isn't me bashing, not, medics, because there's absolutely amazing medics
Absolutely not. No,
and
absolutely
great
not.
well with non-medics. They think about patients. I'm talking about the ones that are trying to get rid of all non-medics, because how amazing would it be that they can start charging everything that they want, £1,000 per mil. I'll tell you what, I used to know someone, definitely stopped talking to him, and he was a doctor, and he started offering aesthetic treatments, and he was charging like £400, I think it was. Bear in mind, this was over like 10 years ago. £400 per Botox area. And you know what he said to me? And I said to him, "God, that's excessive. I wouldn't pay that." And he says, "Believe me, people are dumb and they'll pay it." And that's his own words as a doctor, which is absolutely, I mean, it's vile to even say. Like I say, I've stopped talking to him. And do you know something? He didn't end up doing well. But what he was saying was, I'm a doctor, and people will pay me that kind of money because of my title. And this is what I mean. It's an abuse of power. When people, I see it all the time. And sometimes I'm not a keyboard warrior, but I had to get involved in a debate online, which is what I was mentioning earlier, around this doctor who came up and saying, this is why you should book with a non-medic, you should only be with a medic. And we were going back and forth with the messages, and I was saying, this is absolutely wrong what you're saying. And a doctor replied back to me, and she said, "You have zero respect for doctors. You should go and train to be a doctor and see how hard it is." No, I'm not going to train to be a doctor. I'm doing a regulated qualification, level 7 qualification, that's going to teach me everything I need to know about aesthetics. I have got a doctor that supports me, including I've got a prescriber, and I network with other medics out there. I'm not going to. I'm not taking that away from you, but what I'm taking away is the fact that you're abusing your power and your title to try and profit, and that is wrong. And you know what it is, Yannah? The amount of clients that I've had that have come to me from doctors and have told me that they feel scammed by going to a doctor, because I offer the same treatment, let's say as an example, for £100, whereas the doctor maybe around 5 minutes away will offer it for about 500, and sometimes lower quality, by the way, and they would offer it for a lot higher, and that's exactly what some of the regulations is all about, to try and again push out the non-medics, bump up the prices. And the thing is, the way that I see it is, you do not have to be so rich to be doing these treatments. You don't. I want every single one. I want it to be affordable. Like, look and feeling good should be accessible to everyone, not just people who are celebrities and everything like that. Everyone deserves to look and feel good.
I think that can be said for even, I think the industry as a whole. So as you know, obviously what I do now, I now focus fully on the mentorship side of things. I completely stopped my treatments, and I focus on the mentorship, because that is where I became more passionate, and you got to go with where you're more passionate, but like we've had a conversation about this before when we was talking on voice notes, didn't we? And even when I was looking for a mentor in this industry, because someone is in the aesthetic industry, they will charge you £20,000 for 6 months of support, but you just banged in a WhatsApp group and they have a call with you, once a week or whatever it is. But it's like everyone jumps on this bandwagon of aesthetics. Oh yeah, it's all this money. Like I've like I said to you, I will never, ever, 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 ever charge someone £20,000 to get some business support.
People would actually not believe it, right? Because I had multiple conversations with people, agencies saying, we can help grow your business. And everything that they was telling me to do, I was not going to do, because theirs was just about the money aspect, like, just to drive all these sales. But my focus is people, and then the sales come. So it's like the other, like the reverse of it, but theirs is more about, just selling, banging out as many treatments as possible. I don't agree with it. And I want to say from memory, one of the people that I spoke to, again, I want to say from memory, it was about 12 grand that they said for this mentorship. With no guarantees, with no nothing. But again, a lot of people are getting scammed as well. I know so many people that have paid thousands of pounds, just to get all this like content out there on a monthly basis. It's like you do not need that. Yes, I think followers, it's not all about the followers, because even though we've got 10,000 something followers, I'll tell you now, I had one video that had over 1 million views and got me 0 clients, and I've got some posts that hardly have any likes, hardly have any engagement, but my clients talk about it when they're in the treatment room, and they're like, I've learned so much from this.
I'm so glad that you've mentioned this, because I wanted to bring it up. So social media in itself, I think people fixate too much on being visible on social media rather than posting with purpose, which is something that I really, really am heavy on. I say to people, don't be posting for the sake of posting. It needs to be with a purpose. And don't fixate on your followers or how many likes, because I promise you, it's just, we are now so, all of us are so consumed by social media. We go on it and we just scroll. You know, like years ago, you go on it and you would probably like things more and comment on things a lot more, but now there's so much information on there and there's so many, you know, ads are popping up all the time now. It's social media is a different ball game. So I always say to people, like, honestly, don't fixate on how many likes you got on a post, because a lot of people say, I only got 9 likes. I'm like, babe, imagine 9 people knocking on your door and all of a sudden they're clapping for you. Like, don't get fixated on that. Don't get fixated on that. And then she messaged me weeks later and says, you know what? Every single client that I've said that's come to see me this week said, oh my God, I loved your video. It was so good. It's made me think like, oh, can I have this treatment? It's still a conversation starter when you're doing it in the right way. So I say to people, don't fixate on it.
It's so easily done. I used to be so rigid with my posts. I used to be scheduling them every single week, you know, multiple times a day, just because I had to put content out there. And also, the other thing that I don't like about content sometimes is putting pressure on clients to take photos. I'm that person that I do not like going for a treatment personally and having, you know, paparazzi left, right, and centre, you know, and although I do ask my clients all the time, you know, do you feel comfortable? But if I feel like even like a slight bit of them feeling uncomfortable, I'm like, no. But at that time, I felt like that pressure of trying to get as many before and afters. But what I've done instead is I will literally post what I think my clients will benefit from now.
Exactly.
You know, what I'm going to put out there, rather than, oh, I need to put that out there because of the algorithm. I'm not working for the algorithm, by the way, is a full-time, not even a full-time, overtime, everything job. I'm not working for Instagram. I refuse to work for Instagram. I'm working, you know, the way that I say it is putting content that I want for my clients that they're going to benefit from. And
exactly.
We do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. You're posting with purpose. It's almost how I say to people, treat your social media, whether you choose Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, treat it like your shop window, because that is basically what it is. People now come onto your profile and they will make a judgment within 7 seconds on whether they plan to, you know what, this is someone that I actually want to book with. So I say to people, focus on your bio so they're very clear on what it is that you actually do. Because you want people to come onto your page and go, this is the person I need to work with. This is the person for me. You've got to, you know, have that connection with them. And what I see a lot now is people, there is no connection because they're chasing the trends, they're chasing the algorithm, they're chasing just to be visible, when actually all you need to be doing is create a connection with your ideal client and understanding your ideal client. And like you say, putting content out there that your clients want to see, because that's what's going to attract your clients.
Do you know, the biggest thing is knowing what kind of client that you want as well.
Massive.
People don't realise how important that is, because I do not want every client. And this is what I talk about, you know, with injectors, is that do not worry about another injector, even if they are literally next door to you, you know, because I've got multiple injectors near me, but I know I'm so confident in my work and the clients that will come to me, the connection that we've got, you know, I'm so clear on the kind of client that I want. And I know my approach works for them, and they might not be suited for another injector. So there's enough clients for everyone, and it's understanding what client do you want, what you're like as an injector as well, and what have you got to actually offer that's different, what's so unique about you. And believe me, like I say, if you hyperfixate about your social media, you are completely disconnected from that person. You know, it's about putting that focus with every single client at their appointment. And believe me, the power of word of mouth is not to be underestimated at all.
Absolutely not. It's like with me, I've probably got a 1,600 something followers on my Instagram. But you know what? They are my ideal client, like you said, because I understand who my ideal client is. I network with people in the industry. So some people might look at that and go, well, that's not very many followers to what you actually do. But I have meaningful conversations with people every single day in my inbox, because they will reach out to me and go, oh my God, Yannah, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of looking at it that way. So it's about, and there might be days where I don't post a single thing at all because I'm thinking, right, actually, I want to tweak things or whatever. I don't fixate on it. I don't, and I will never be one of them coaches that posts glam pictures in my heels and my dress every single day and do guilt marketing, like where you're almost bullying people for not investing in.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting that you've said that
I'll never
because,
do it.
yeah, I completely agree with you because do you know some of the posts that I will put out there or just of me, on my story as well. The other day I went for Bungee Fit and
Love that, by the way. I so want to go to that. I so want to
it
go
was
to that.
amazing. Honestly,
Yeah.
it was absolutely amazing. And we're humans at the end of the day. And I don't want to be coming up on here every single time like the filters. Oh, we have to get on the filters, by the way, in a moment. Don't we? I think
Oh
that's
god,
what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about. But coming
Yeah.
out here and looking like we're perfect all the time, like we're not. So I've made a conscious effort that I will never. I mean, I used to. Don't get it twisted. I used to come because of the pressure. Everyone else was doing it around me, putting a filter on, looking perfect. And then I started looking at myself and I started thinking, I can't take myself seriously because when I do see injectors putting a filter on, I cannot take them seriously. I cannot because the way that I see it is a lot of people also go to an injector because of their appearance. Unfortunately, that is
Yeah.
the case. And the way that's it, you're
Pretty
massively.
privilege, as they call it, isn't it? And it is. It
Yeah,
is.
it absolutely is.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're then putting a filter on, and I see it as deception, by the way, it's a sales tactic to try and then get, clients in. I think that's wrong. And the way that I see it, clients, they can accept me whether I'm all glammed up and there are days without my hair extensions and my makeup and no filter, all that kind of stuff. And that's how I look. And I want to be honest. I do see it as fraud. I can remember, Yannah, looking at a couple of injectors and then seeing them in person and not recognizing them because they look nothing like the photo. And I thought, like the photos and the filters and everything like that, I thought this is just fraud. And you know what you're doing. And one video that comes to mind was an injector talking, had a heavy filter on their face and saying, guys, I've got this amazing jowl treatment that's going to really help. And she was like doing all of this in her video. And I'm thinking, you've literally put the most heavily filtered, filter on, and your jowls that you're showing that you've achieved from this treatment that you're about to offer and sell to your clients, it's not even how you look because you put a filter on. But I see this is the way that I see it. If you're profiting off a treatment and you're editing your work and filtering your work, that is wrong. And I see it all the time in this industry.
And I think now would be a really good time for us to bring up, said Instagram account at the moment. I think it's absolutely insane and very concerning what they're doing. So they are literally posting the actual picture, so exactly how it would look, and then they show them how they edit it. But what's even more concerning is that people are commenting it saying, what app is this? People are actually like, I want this app. You change your whole client's face and you are now putting out really... It's setting the standards too high. It's not achievable because it's not real. It's not real. People are going with these lips saying, I want lips like it. No.
It's so hard because also for injectors, we need to challenge what has been set in this aesthetics industry. Because how difficult is it when you get a client coming to you, showing you a picture of these flawless lips, and they're like, I want to look like this porcelain Barbie doll. And you're like, but that is AI. That's literally been heavily edited. But not even just the heavily edited, because some injectors are very, very clever at how they angle the photos, the before and afters. And there is a injector, really, really popular, by the way, over 60,000 followers, who's notorious for it. And she's built an empire with a very, very long waiting list. And that's exactly what she does. She will take the photo with what's called shadow casting. So the before photo and video, and basically shadow casting. And one of my clients had to explain this to me because I was like, how is she doing this? What's she doing? She's like, what she's doing is shadow casting, creating shadows on all the creases. So when you're creating shadows, you can see the nasolabial folds, you can see the hollowness in the face, you can see lines and wrinkles. And then what you then do, I'll have to show you this, Yannah, honestly, it's really, really fascinating. What they then do with the afters is they will then take very similar after video, but a little bit more like the client's more kind of sitting upwards. The lighting is in a different direction and it gets completely rid of all the wrinkles, all the lines, all the shadows, and it's very, very clever how they do it, but it's very, very deceiving. And it says, look, and she'll say, look, I'm a magician. She'll say to, this is how she positions. Can't get my words up. Positions. And it's wrong. It is really, really wrong because people fall for it. And then as an injector, I've got my clients saying, look, I've just seen this before and after, and I'm like, that's completely manipulated. Those results have been, and yes, they haven't got a filter on, but equally what they're doing is really, really bad. And to be honest with you, Yannah, I can remember exposing this Instagram account. They've got over 1 million followers, and they've got over 1 million followers on both Instagram and TikTok. Before and after.
I am wondering if it's the same account that keeps coming up, because
Yeah.
there's one particular that comes up and I'm thinking, is this the one that you mentioned? Because obviously we did have a bit of a conversation, you know, before. And I'm thinking, I wonder if this is the account. I'm gonna, next time it comes up on my feed, because I try not to engage with it, because I feel like the more I watch it, even if I don't, you know, comment or anything on it, I'm boosting the post. And it's reaching more people. So the minute that I kind of see it, I scroll past it really quick, because I think, no, you're not even having my time. Like, you know, you're not having my time.
It's frustrating though, isn't it? Because, I mean, I exposed them because I was like, right, I need to study what's happening here. Because my photos and videos aren't turning out like this. And also, how is it possible to achieve these results? I need to understand, what are they doing? And what I did was I slowed the video down, so the before and afters. I focused on the texture of the skin. I zoomed in to the texture of the after, zoomed in, and what I saw was the filter glitching multiple times, and you will only notice it when you slow down the video, by the way. Wow. So it's very, very easy to miss, but I just thought it's impossible to achieve these results. And multiple areas you can see it. The filter was glitching around the eyes, around the lips, around some of the skin texture. The spots would show and then they'd come out, and it's like, people are falling for this because they've literally got the longest waiting list again. They've got people saying, how do I get this? How do I book in? What treatment is this? And they are heavily profiting. They're actually worldwide, this clinic, they're worldwide in Dubai. They're doing all these masterclasses, and it's all fake. It's all AI. It's all filters, and they're getting away with it. And guess what? I got blocked. I got blocked after I exposed them, because I tagged them in it as well. I got blocked, and
you know what? And I do think it's still very egotistical. Social media is. So Lisa's commented in the comments that people can actually buy followers, and that's been a thing for a long time on Instagram. And have you noticed recently they've now started removing bot accounts? I saw someone post about it saying, has anyone lost any followers? Because they were just removing inactive accounts, which is really normal, because everyone's always going to have a few inactive accounts. I think my followers went down by 5 or something like that. But another account, over 30,000. Wow. 30,000. So now she's actually got 8,000 followers opposed to the nearly 40, whatever it was before, or whatever it was.
That is just ridiculous, because like you say, hi Lisa, I hope you all, you can absolutely buy followers, and it's so easily done, because of the amount of messages I used to get. 10,000 followers for this much, you know, I'm like, block.
I actually started screenshotting all of their messages, you know, because I wanted to put a post out about that, to educate people, saying, please stop looking at the followers that someone has got and depend that on your trust for choosing a practitioner. Please don't do it, because it might not even be correct, you know. So based on your work, your conversation, you know, because to me, like someone mentioned earlier on, consultation should be a non-negotiable. 100%. You know, if you're going to a new practitioner, I highly recommend you go for a consultation first. Get to know that person, get to understand, ask them questions, because there's nothing better than questions. I can remember new clients coming to me saying, oh God, I bet I'm stressing you out of all these questions. I'm like, no, I'm glad you're asking me these questions, because, you know, you need to be able to understand that I'm looking after you.
It's so interesting, because when I have clients and they come to me and they do say, no, look, you know, we trust you, I will show them everything that I'm using, and I'm like, look, this is the product, I'm just taking a photo of the batch number, I'm putting it through your consent form. And the reason why I'm educating my clients is because if, God forbid, one day I decide to not do aesthetics, I want them to know this is the standard that you should expect from every single appointment. And if someone's been a little bit shady and they're not telling you about the products and everything like that they're using, then run a mile. And the other thing is, you know, the pressure of actually getting the treatment done on the day. So I saw a post about this where a injector had put that a client had booked in, I can't remember the exact, you know, filler amount or whatever she booked in for. And she had the consultation with her. That client then said to her, oh, I don't want to go ahead. You know, she was basically put off. She was a bit scared after she found out all the potential complications. And she said, no, that's absolutely fine, but that would be £500 for today's appointment. And do you know what was so crazy about that post is so many people supported that injector saying, yeah, well done for imposing your, because the class is a cancellation, she said, I can't fill that spot. No. You've got to sit down. Yeah, absolutely not. If you have to put pressure on your client at the point of injection because you have to fill up that space, you have set up your business wrong. Because when I get my bookings through the system, if it's a new client, the first thing that I will do, and I'll see all these packages and I'll see, oh, she's booked in for 5 mil. Okay, I'll reach out and I'll just say, do you want to come in for a consultation, or can you send me a photo? Can I want to have a look? And then I'll just say, based on the consultation on the day, it could be, if my clients decide after they know all the different complications, they can cancel their appointment. And the only fee that they'll get charged is the booking fee, which is £30, to initially book in, but to charge them for the full appointment that they didn't have.
In that scenario, absolutely not. Like, of course, we've got policies in place to protect us as business owners. We need that to be able to protect ourselves. We do. Yeah. But in that scenario, you've done the consultation on the same day. And one moment, I'm going to see the puzzle, please. Yeah, she's done the consultation on the same day. The client has then said, actually, this isn't for me. In that moment, you should go, I totally respect your decision. Not, oh, you're still going to pay for it anyway, because the client will likely sit there. That's insane to me. That's insane.
100%, but the amount of support that post got from other injectors, that's what worried me. To say, well done, yeah, you lost out on your time and all that kind of stuff. No, you've got a flawed business model if you're having to literally think that every single time a client books in, you have to complete that treatment. The other day, I booked in, multiple treatments, with my clients, and in fact, I had one client that was really interested, and she booked in for like a skin pen because I was advertising skin pen. I was talking to people about it. I love it. She booked in for skin pen and another treatment, but when she came in for her consultation, and I ended up extending it because it was a first-time client, we spoke about her concerns, and it turned out that she needed something completely different, completely different to what she booked in for, And sometimes clients do book in for things and they see it on TikTok or they'll see it online. Oh, this is going to be for me.
Yeah, because they do. They'll see someone else have real great results from something, but actually that particular treatment, they don't need that. It's something that, like you say, something else is more suited. So this is why, to me, it's so important that we educate clients all the time, not just in that moment, which is why, in a way, I never had I used to call it a conveyor belt when people would come in, and I would actually spend the time with my clients. It would never be one in, one out. It would never like that. Because I needed to sit down and have them conversations with my clients. If it was someone that came to me every single month, whether it was for their microclean or whatever, then it's a little bit different. Just obviously check. Nothing's changed since your last, consent form, etc. But with new clients, actually understanding them, and I think it's quite concerning when people don't approach it that way.
Why they're having the treatment in the first place. And I think, just going back onto your point about this conveyor belt, I will be back to back with my clients. Yeah. However, these are my regular clients.
Exactly.
Yeah. For new clients, as soon as I see that there's a booking, we need to extend that, and check in after, especially if a client's never come to you before, check in with them. How are they doing? Are they okay? What's their bruising like? What's their swelling like? That level of care is really, really important as well. And it doesn't go unnoticed with these clients. It's these little touches that do make a massive difference as well. But it is sad because I think Katrina mentioned so many clients don't even know what they've had previously. I shouldn't say it's funny because it's not funny, but it's crazy the level that this is at. Is people do not know what's being injected into their faces, and why I always try and educate my clients and support them is to know that if I was to ask you, and I saw this post, so I'm not going to say that this is my own kind of thought process, but I really resonated with it, and they were saying, if you was to ask someone, where is your jacket from? Where is your coat from? Where is your bag from? They will be able to tell you it's from Zara, it's from H&M, it's from Primark. Okay, so what about the last filler that you had done with a previous injector?
I love that. I love that was put out.
I don't know. So if you know what you're wearing, but you don't know what's going into your body, what's actually getting injected like that, you need to know this stuff, because there is a lot of fake products out there, unfortunately.
I think one big thing that really, really concerns me, so obviously as practitioners, we have this huge responsibility, and there is excellent practitioners, as we know, as well as the bad. There's good and the bad. all over. But what concerns me, I think, the most is the lack of care that the public have. They do just want the cheapest option sometimes, and they don't care how they're going to get that cheapest option. They will just do it. And to me, it is a luxury industry. They are luxury treatments, and it is your body. It is your body. If something goes wrong, you know, you're going to be affected for life potentially.
It's a difficult one because when they've heard about their friend who's gone to someone and they're really really cheap and they're fine, sometimes they don't realise that let's say if they've had Botox and it's a really really cheap amount, they don't realise what good looks like.
No.
This is it, because they don't have that comparison, but they know their friend's gone down the road and they've had a model slot and I don't know, no prescriber, no nothing, and they've had this Botox, God knows what was used on them, but they're happy with it because they don't know what good looks like, because they've not experienced that. Until someone then experiences what a proper consultation looks like, what informed consent is, what a great customer service experience as well, because at the end of the day we are about that client and patient experience as well. They're not just clients, they are patient experience, that aftercare. Until they experience it, they don't know why, what's the difference in what they're paying as well. But also there is some really inflated prices out there, and like I say, I think there are some prices and you can see why they're cheap. You really really can tell, and you're like, okay, so what are you being, what's actually going into my face? And then it goes through the other scale where it's just so astronomical and you just think this is taking the mick now, in terms of what you're charging a client. This is extortion, but it's almost trying to find a balance. But I think the only way to know is when you reach out to your, let's say to your injector, what's their communication like? Do they try and pressure you into a treatment? Do they try and just sell you over with this like bargain? What's their communication like? What's the going to their appointment? What's their policy like? Are they going to charge you in full if you change your mind? Ask them these questions. What happens if I book in for a treatment and I decide on the day that it's not for me? Are they going to say tough, I'm going to charge you in full? What's the consultation process like? Ask them questions. What do you use? And I think most of the time you will have a bit of a feel for it as well.
100%. And I always say to people, use your consultation like an interview. You're not just going for the practitioner to tell you what you need this, this, and this. Ask them questions. Why do you think I need that? Why, what is it you're going to be using? What is this classed as? What's in it? The more questions that you ask, the better, because it's your safety, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say, Yannah, as well, another red flag is an injector that guarantees the results.
Yeah.
That is, it's wrong. So, I have a lot of clients and they'll say to me, for example, they're getting polynucleotide treatment. They're like, am I guaranteed to get results? Well, the only thing that we're guaranteed in life is death. That is the only thing, let's be honest. I know it's a little bit like,
No, but it's facts. It's facts, isn't it? It's facts.
So when they're going somewhere and they've been, had clients that have been so disappointed because they've been promised a facelift with filler. Let me tell you now, anyone that's watching this, you will not get a facelift with filler. You cannot. So an injector that uses this kind of like wording that you're going to get a facelift, it's wrong. And I've had clients again that have been disappointed and they've said to me, well, I went to this, let's say this doctor, to be honest with you, and sorry, I know I keep bringing this up because
no, bring it up. It's important.
Charge $1,500 for 5 mil of filler to give them a lift, and they said, "But I looked amazing for the first 24 hours, because I swam."
Yeah.
And then everything goes down after, and they kept on trying to pinpoint me to the point to say, if I do a treatment with you, will I get this lift? And I was like, no, you are not going to get lift with filler, and I will never use those kind of words in terms of like lifting with filler. And it's wrong. It really, really is wrong with the marketing.
Yeah, and again, it's the trend usage, isn't it? So because at the moment, when that picture came out when Kris Jenner had her facelift, she looked absolutely bloody fantastic. Yeah, but then since then, practitioners now use the word facelift in their packages. It's not. It's a filler package, babe. It's a facial transformation. You can call it that. Yeah, it's filler, but it isn't a bloody facelift now, is it? It isn't.
It's the same thing, with like fat dissolvers, and people kind of market them as almost like weight loss. It's not.
No,
it's not weight loss. Although, Yannah, we need to talk about remote prescribing and weight loss injections and the whole. Yeah, that's another kettle of fish, because it is wild out there.
We do. I mean, and I think, perfect time to even touch on it, to be honest with you. So, we have already, spoke on the changes that came in and what to expect when you're booking a Botox. You should be having a face-to-face prescription done with you with a prescriber, that is a non-negotiable. That is the law, by the way, everyone. That is the actual law. So if that's not happening, then you need to be, you need to be going elsewhere, and you need to be asking them questions as well. But what we found really interesting, don't we, is the fact that if you're on weight loss jabs, so Mounjaro, Wegovy, whatever it is that you're on, you can just take pictures and send that in. And I personally know people that have put on loads of layers of clothes and took a picture of themselves and sent it in, and they've been given Mounjaro and then ended up in hospital severely unwell because they were so unweight before anyway. They got a bit of body dysmorphia. And I found that insane. So you're saying that for people just to have Botox, it's got to be face-to-face, but for weight loss, you can just send a photo in that's fake, by the way. There's AI now and everything. You can even add AI to make me look fatter, like literally. And then, again, but when you're on the phone to your GP now, you can even get prescribed over the phone without them even seeing you. You tell them what your symptoms you've got and they'll go, oh yeah, we'll do your prescription for that now.
I have to say, I understand 100% that, the law changed 1st of June, you have to have face-to-face. All my clients know they come in for a face-to-face appointment, they meet my prescriber, and I follow the rules. Do I agree with it? No. And I'll tell you why I don't agree with it, because we are not stuck in the dark ages. We have got, video calls now. And like you say, there are other medications out there that actually come with a higher risk. I say high risk because I'm going to give you some statistics on this to say, why can it not be done remotely via a video consultation? My prescriber, she's busy as it is, and they've got better things to do than come and, look, the way that I see it, do it. If there's an alternative way to do it safely, which there is on a video call, why can you not do it? It is, I think, I follow the rules. This is what it is right now. But the question is, I want maybe to reflect on is, how many cases of Botox deaths do you actually hear about? So I've got you some statistics. In 2025, I've got some statistics. I'm ready.
Love this. Go on.
There was 0 cases of deaths with Botox. There have been complications with Botox. 1%, by the way, because in the UK alone, 900,000 people on average get Botox on a year-to-year basis, and less than 1% have complications. Less than 1%. Okay, now with weight loss injections, there is last year alone, 111 suspected deaths with weight loss medication, and that is done remotely. Yet with Botox, they want a face-to-face appointment. So I think, personally, I've got an opinion about everything. I really do think this is about power and control. And the reason behind it is a lot of people in this industry are women. Yeah. And, a lot of women have built a successful business out of doing aesthetics. They have. Mm-hmm. And the government has come in to say, okay, you need to have permission to do, for a prescriber to come in, to do these treatments, although you can do it via a video consultation. And a lot of injectors out there have stopped offering treatments like Botox because of how complicated the process is.
Yeah.
And again, it's just try and get only the medics to do these treatments. When, again, I have got doctors that come to me for their Botox treatments. I can do this treatment. And I've got medics that ask me for support in terms of how do I inject, how do I do this pattern, and who have had training and who basically haven't had the best training. And I will be there to kind of support them and almost guide them, because they do need refreshers sometimes. So it is about power and control. Whereas these pharmaceutical companies that are making billions out of these weight loss medications, they're the ones that need face-to-face because it's so easy to get hold of it. Not Botox. Remember, Botox, 0 deaths last year.
Crazy.
Last year, weight loss injections, 111 suspected cases, and that's done remotely, whereas Botox it isn't.
I should have known that you'd come with receipts for this. I should have known, she's going to have them figures. Because, and there you go. And this is why when the regulations do come into place, those that are making the decisions on the regulations, they need these insights. Come on, guys. Look at the bigger picture. Look at what you are creating in the industry. Look at how everyone is trained. Going back to that with the regulations, what is your opinion on it? Which direction do you think you're going to go? Because obviously you're doing level 7 right now. So where do you think everyone should be At level 7?
I think you can never stop learning.
Never,
Go
no.
to an injector that claim that they have the answers for everything, red flag. I learn from every single appointment. I'm learning and I'm researching and I'm contacting different people to try and understand, what's happening. I'm part of easily over 5 complication groups, and what I do almost on a daily basis, I will look at complications that other injectors have messaged about with and on WhatsApp chats with surgeons on there, with doctors on there, like say dentists, everything like that. And they're messaging and they're saying, I've had this complication, what is it? And I'm continuously learning, trying to understand, how did they get this complication? Oh, it's because of this. Okay, well, I'll bear this in mind. So I'll bear this in mind with, when I go through a consent form and everything like that. You have to continuously educate yourself. You have to make sure that you have got your prescriber, you have got, a doctor that supports you as well. You absolutely have to have that. Like I say, the medics that support non-medics, they're the ones that think about patient safety and not trying to line their pockets like other medics that I've been talking about. And you have to make sure that you're having refresher courses. Complications refresher is a must every single year as a minimum. First aid, basic life support. What about your emergency equipment? What about, what happens in case of an emergency? You have to, for every single treatment that you have got in your clinic that you're offering, you have to have a protocol to say, I'm offering this filler treatment. This is the protocol. If this happens, that happens, and this happens, you have to have a protocol, And I'm going to be, so with my role working as an operations manager in a heavily regulated industry, and working in compliance, I know the ins and outs, and I'm going to be supporting injectors because I see so many injectors and I'm like, if anyone was to investigate you and turn up at your door, you could literally be told there and then you must stop everything that you're doing. And that's something that I'm going to be supporting injectors with, because I'm really, really heavy on compliance and making sure that actually compliance is there to protect the safety of the public. It's a non-negotiable. And so absolutely, we need to do more courses like level 6, level 7, because it does teach you absolutely everything. And continuous learning CPD is a non-negotiable. If you think that you've done a 3-day course or a 1-day course and you're going to be out there injecting and not learning anymore, please leave the industry, because like I say, you're the ones that are tarnishing the reputation of every single one around us. But again, I've come with some receipts. The aesthetics industry, is something that has to be regulated. But if they push non-medics out, then that would be, like I say, pushing a lot of successful women out there that are earning a honest living, that have got, clients that absolutely trust them. The work is absolutely amazing. And, in terms of the aesthetics industry and the complications that happen, I really want to bring in some receipts based on this. A lot of people are fear-mongering out there, like this could happen and that could happen and all this kind of stuff. The aesthetics industry, like I say, it's £1 billion, not even pound, like billions and billions of pound industry, and people are getting it, millions of people on a daily basis around the world. In the UK, only 17% of people actually get aesthetic treatments, whereas in America it's near sort of 50%. And so more and more people are getting aesthetic treatments. The complication rate for the aesthetics industry last year alone was to less than 1%. It's actually around 0.2%. So there's a lot of fear mongering and medics saying don't go to non-medics, but the complication rate is less than 1%. Now, if we compare it to the NHS, it's a lot higher. So
massively higher.
So
Massively higher.
Massively higher. So I've got the receipts here, I've written it down. So where did I write this down? So in terms of the aesthetics industry, there is one claim for every 1 million procedure that's done in the aesthetics industry yearly. One, okay, for every million.
Yeah.
In traditional medicine, there's one claim for every 2,600 treatments. So, when you're going into like hospitals and everything like that. So this is why I say to people, do your research. Just because someone's got the doctor title does not mean that, at the end of the day, they are business women, they are businessmen, okay? And they don't always have your best interests at heart. You will get a feel and, ask all the right questions. If you're someone that goes into a consultation room and you get dismissed, you're not getting heard, at the end of the day, you're just standing with by someone who's just, like I say, a businesswoman, a businessman, no matter whether they're a doctor or not. So don't let them fearmonger you, because the complication rate is very, very low. It's serious. It is serious what's happening, but it's very, very low on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Like the medics are trying to push it to try and push us out.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, with this medic and non-medic divide, debate, whatever you want to call it, it's got lots of different names to it at the moment. I think the only thing that should be an agreement between both parties is that client safety comes first, and that is it. And every single medic that I've spoken to, that has been their opinion. They said, look, I don't give a shit if someone's a non-medic, as long as they are looking after their clients and have their care at, from paramount, then that should be more than enough. I've not yet had someone say to me, get rid of non-medics. Thankfully, because I think I'd tell them to piss off. I think I would.
I think I probably would. I probably would too. And
Yes.
like I say, I feel really, really strongly about this topic, just because of my own personal experience, my clients' experiences as well. And I think non-medics as well, we need to make sure that we're not staying quiet about this, because I've pushed a couple of posts in terms of make sure that we're there's different petitions that you can sign out there to make sure that we're not getting Cosmetic Couture, by the way, absolutely love them. Cosmetic Couture, I've been really pushing, Maxine McCarthy, I believe her name is, trying to support medics out there, making sure that they've got amazing training out there for them. And again, she's teamed up with medics that are supporting non-medics. But what's happening here is non-medics are just not engaging with it because they feel that they are safe. We have to engage and we have to make noise around this. Otherwise, it will be too late. Just look at what's happened in Scotland, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And it was interesting because I posted the petition that you shared with me. I posted it onto my social media as well. And I always, I watch my insights to everything every single day. I see what my stories doing. But what I was interested to look at for that one was, I wonder how many people clicked the link to sign that petition. I am not joking. I probably had something like 500 views, and 90% of that was people in the beauty and aesthetic industry.
Yeah.
2 people clicked on the link. 2.
This is what I mean, Yannah. And at the end of the day, these people will be the people that will talk the loudest and be upset the most when the regulations come in, and they probably, let's say, if they do get taught that you cannot work as a non-medic, because we're not doing anything about it. We're just waiting until all these different policies are put in the background, and then when the changes happen, like exactly what happened in Scotland, then people will get obsessed about it. So I really think, a message out to non-medics, including nurses, because by the way, a lot of nurses out there, sometimes they are excluded, and if they haven't got a pin or if they lost a pin because they're practicing aesthetics now, they will be excluded. So all that experience in the past, all the work that they've done, all the education is pretty much gone to waste, because if they do eradicate non-medics, it also means them as well.
Yeah, it does. And I know people that was nurses that have no longer got their PIN because they're not actively working as a nurse anymore. They've, fully transitioned into aesthetics. The ring light's just gone dead. I know that. I know people myself, and they're like, well, I'm now classed as a non-medic.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So we need to, like I say, petitions. The petitions are out there. When you see them, just engage with them. Otherwise it will be too late. And what I would always say is, I've said this to my clients, this is why I'm educating them to say, well, maybe if I can't one day do the aesthetics, I always think worst case scenario, I'm sure there's going to be a route where they're going to be supporting non-medics, and it's more about licensing, premise licensing and your own licensing. But at least I've set up my clients to know exactly what they need to be looking out for from treatments in the future. But I tell you what, I will miss the most if I wasn't able to do this for any reason, is the relationships that I've built with my clients and the change that you can see, because the confidence that that they can have from having these treatments, they can be absolutely life-changing. So but like I said, this is me talking worst case scenario.
No. But I think, but that just goes to show, doesn't it, the relationship that you have with your clients is everything. Like when they say your clients will become your friends, that is facts. That is the biggest thing that I miss with not doing hands-on treatments. It's not seeing my clients every single month. I really miss them. I do think sometimes, like, oh, I wonder what she's up to. You naturally do. You do think about them because yeah, they become a massive part of your life because that's how it should be. Like, it
And
is.
that's the difference between someone who's invested in you as a person
Yeah,
to someone who just sees you as a transaction. Because
exactly.
I've been that person that's felt like I was just a transaction, like, you know, I'm just going to just be a paycheck. Like, I'm so invested in my clients' treatments that, you know, and I will help them and I'll say, you know, make sure you're not using sunbeds, make sure you're not doing this, because I'm so invested. I want them to have these amazing results. Otherwise, it's so easy for me to say, okay, well, you've had a treatment, okay, there you go. Here's the money, brilliant, off you go. You know, but I'm so invested, you know, and you have to be, you absolutely have to be. And clients can tell, they can really tell between
They
someone's
can.
yeah.
They can tell. And I mean, honestly, we could stay on this for hours. This could be like a 24-hour challenge, and I guarantee we would still keep going for 24 hours.
Yeah.
We really would. We really would. But I think we should definitely bring back a part two. I don't know about you, but I think we definitely should bring back a part two. But before we do start wrapping up, I want to know: have you got anyone? Because you are so well respected in the industry. You really are. I mean, I was talking about you the other day when I was at one of my clients, and I was, you know, mentioning, I've got a podcast Sunday, and we've got Nora and Co coming on, and like, oh my god, I follow her, she's amazing. I'm like, I know she's amazing, you know, and yeah, and then the other one was like, oh my god, no, I follow her, and I didn't even realise that, you know. So you're so well respected, and so very rightly so. Is there anyone in the industry that you kind of look up to?
To be fair, I have to say there is a few. There is a few.
Yeah.
Dr. G, I love what he stands for. You know, the complications masterclasses again, because he kind of bridges that gap between medics and non-medics, and he's focusing on that patient safety. You know, Dr. Lord is the same. You know, my prescriber Millie, who works so tirelessly in the background, prescribing for so many non-medics and supporting them. You know, in case that there was any complications. You know, the amount of times, you know, I'll call her. You know, is this normal? Is it not? You know, and I just think anyone that puts patient safety first rather than fear mongering to profit has my respect, no matter what your title is.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And that's all, in my opinion, that it should be. I speak to medics and non-medics every single day. Every single day. I'm a non-medic, but you know, I was very well respected myself when I was doing treatments. And honestly, every person said to me, it makes no difference to me, Yannah, that you're not a medic. You know, you support, and I support even through mentorship, medics and non-medics. Exactly that. I don't see the difference in at all. As long as you are taking care of your clients and standing for what's right, and you know, doing things by the book, that's all that I focus on. That's all I care about. That's it.
And like I say, this job is very, very tiring. There is so much to it, and you have to, whoever's in this industry, you really have to have that passion and love for what. And it can get a lot, you know, because you're managing, you know, your clients' treatments, making sure they're on plans, you know, making sure that you're timing everything right, you know, you're back and forth with messages sometimes trying to get everything right, you know, for your clients. And like I say, if you are doing something half-heartedly, they can really, really feel it. But I would say, you know, the burnout sometimes that you can get from doing this job, it is intense. It really, really is.
Well, I mean, I expect, you know, and I think even being a business owner yourself, I think you experience it. I mean, recently, I mean, I think I spoke to you about it, didn't I, all them months ago? I was really going through some serious burnout to the point where I was like, what is happening to me? I thought that there was something quite seriously wrong with me, health-wise. I thought, this isn't right. And
that's, Yannah, because you love what you do and you can't stop. I don't know about you.
Can't switch off. I'd never ever switch off. You know, I went out to a family fun day thing yesterday, and there I am on my phone, like messaging my clients. You know, need this. They're like, Yannah, just go out and bloody enjoy yourself, and also leave me alone. Like, it's the weekend. You go and enjoy your weekend too. But because I love what I do so much, it doesn't feel like work. It's almost like some people have like their outlets. Like some people are like really big on the gym. And that's where they go, and they just completely feel you know, calmness. That's what makes them feel good. That is honestly me when I'm working on my business. It doesn't feel like I'm working. It's when I'm at my calmest, my happiest. Like it's perfect.
When you love something, it is hard to kind of like switch off from it, and that's one of the things that I definitely would say that I struggle, you know, with. But I would say to injectors that we don't have to do it all. When your business grows, we've got to think strategically, and I think, you know, you would really, really help with that, Yannah, as well, in terms of we cannot be doing absolutely everything, from the messages to the booking to the treatments to the aftercare. And there are tools out there that would help. And I would say AI, you need to be using AI in your business to be supporting you and supporting your clients have a seamless experience from booking, to having the treatment with you. And, I want to give a massive shout out because I've connected with the best person in terms of like a website developer called Simran. And I really wanted to have this time to talk about what it does, because what he's done, he's picked up all the pain points that injectors have, which is the DMs, the constant back and forth and messages, the constant, the aftercare, doing then the consent form separately, the medical form separately. The admin is crazy, by the way, with aesthetics. People think, oh no, you've done a 15-minute treatment or a 20-minute treatment and you've made out that money. That treatment has not just taken me 15, 20 minutes. That treatment probably has taken me hours in the background that you've not noticed. But what I would say is we have to work smarter as business owners to make it not easy just for ourselves, for our clients. And anyone that's thinking about scaling their business needs to think about what we can do. And I will 100% tag Simran. He's amazing. He will help you build a website, thinking about all those consent, all that admin that takes up so much time for you and your clients, and he will help you with that. And AI features as well, because a lot of clients don't know what to book in for. Just to tell them what can what treatment. So, and yourself, go to someone who is thinking about, mentorship, who's been there in that industry, who knows the industry inside out. That's going to support you scale your business.
This is another big thing as well, I think, and it's important to touch on. There's a lot of mentors out there that they've not done the industry themselves. They're just coming into the mentor in this industry because they see pound signs and they know that some people are desperate for mentorship in this because of how busy the day-to-day of the business is. A lot of people are too busy working in the business rather than on the business. So there is a lot of mentors out there, but honestly, I know ones that haven't got a single ounce of experience in the industry, no hands-on experience. And to me, how can you mentor something that you don't actually know of? So because I know the industry through and through, I look at things in a certain way, exactly how my clients do. They go, oh my God, yeah, Yannah, that makes sense because we need to do it we need to approach it like that. That's what's gonna, have clients coming back, etc. Like, I just don't understand how people can work in something that they don't know.
And they'll charge a fortune, 12 grand,
£12,000 straight up, like, shut up.
Any injector that's watched this today and taken the time out, and if you are struggling to get clients, what I would say to you is you do not need to be investing thousands of pounds for mentorship. I'm talking 12 grand. And talk to people in the industry, calibrate. The biggest thing that I would say to people is if we're working in silo, we would, and you're thinking about, oh, well, competition, and I don't want anyone, to be doing what I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. You are running your business based on fear. As injectors, we have to calibrate, we have to, network with one another and support one another as well, and not gatekeep, because believe me, gatekeeping comes from a position of fear because you're worried about your clients going to another injector. If you're confident in your work, you do not have to have that fear. You do absolutely not have to have that fear. Calibrate, speak to other people, and like I say, make sure you're speaking to the right people, because there are a lot of people out there scamming injectors with courses that are not even, like I say, regulated, with mentorships where they haven't even got that experience, and things that you just don't need for your business. Like, they'll chase views, for example, random viewers. I mean, like I said to you, 1 million views did not get me any clients. And I know so many people with high engagement with little to no bookings. You need strategy in your business. You absolutely need it.
I know people, in the mentorship game, right? One person who I really, really do look up to, she's absolutely fantastic. Her name's Anna. Love what she does. She supports the same industry as me, but she's also had hands-on experience, so she knows the stuff. She's multi-7 figures now. And she literally said to me, Yannah, I don't get no likes on any of my posts on social media. I've got my likes hidden. She went, I'm lucky to get 20 likes on a post at times. She went, but that's not what it's about. And that's what people need to understand in this industry as well. Stop fixating on your likes and your followers. You need to be putting out your content, like we've said, that gives purpose. That is what your clients need to know. Educational content is massive. Get it out there. You've got a responsibility to educate the public, and social media is a fantastic way to do that.
Yeah.
massively, hands down.
I can't wait. What you have built, and I can tell the difference between someone that's going into the industry for money and someone that's going in, because I believe that if you find something that you love and you make money from it, then you won't have to, like I say, you can make money from it, but you won't have to feel like you're working a day in your life. I'm a massive, massive believer in it. And Yannah, I have so much respect for you because, like I say, you have that passion, you can see it, and it's something that I really, really resonate with because, like I say, that's me and what I do in terms of like the aesthetics business. And it is really, really important that you connect with someone who absolutely cares, and it's not just seeing dollar signs. Because believe me, when I see the smile that my clients have, sometimes I even forget to take payment, to be honest with you, because I'm like, that's literally, that is goals. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong from profiting, but I'm saying if you're just going into it for money, you're in the wrong industry.
100%. I mean, I've even had people that have said to me, because obviously I do put out a lot of free stuff, you know, that I have the free tools and things like that I put out. And I have had people say to me, why in the world would you do that? I'm like, well, why not? Why not? Why not put free things out there? Like my podcast, I've had friends say to me, why would you waste your time doing that?
Yeah, because crazy, isn't it? They see it as a waste of time.
Yeah, but it isn't, because I love what I do. I want to talk about it more and more and more. Like, you know, I think it's important. And what I've always been very big on my podcast, like I said at the very beginning, is I don't believe in just giving people a voice that are really successful and they can tell you this amazing, incredible journey that they're now making X amount of money and this, that, the other. Absolutely not. This is about being real, raw. I don't care if you're at the beginning of your journey, in the middle, or, you know, years and years and years and years and years down the line with, you know, huge waiting lists. I don't care what situation. I have had all walks of different people come in onto my podcast. The slots are filled until September, and there's not a single person who's got anything. No story is the same, and I love that. I love that.
I love, you know, what you're doing is so different, and these conversations are needed to happen. It's for us to be able to have a voice in this industry, because again, you will have a lot of places where they will try and push out the content that they want, because again, it's tried to seclude a number of, you know, really experienced injectors because they want to profit from it. And what you've done is very, very unique. So I'm very, very happy to be one of the very first few people, because like I say, you've had a few people on here to come in and talk about the views, because some of the views, like I said, they're a bit controversial, but like I say, I don't hold back. And I never will hold back, and I think it's important to be genuine as well.
So important, so important. It needs talking about, you know. And I think even someone a little bit further up in the comments, Charles, I don't know if she's still on here or not, but she was actually asking if something was safe, and I'm thinking she's probably referring to when you was going through the statistics.
Oh, right, okay.
For the jabs. So it just goes to show, you know, this type of content and these types of conversations are so needed, because even if it makes someone look at something differently, or we've done our job. That's how I look at it. We've done our job. We're protecting the public.
Yeah, I agree, because there's so much awareness out there. Unless you're in this industry, you know the bad and the ugly, you know, the good, bad and the ugly, I say, because there's amazing things, but unless you're in it, you don't understand what's happening. So yeah, well needed conversation.
Definitely. Well, it's been absolutely fantastic. I knew it was going to be amazing, and I feel like, we could go on for hours. I don't even know how long we've even been on here for. I don't even know what time it is.
I can talk.
See, I could just sit on here. But no, before I do let you go, I'm 100% going to bring you back in the future, because we will have so much more to speak about. I can promise you that now. Where can people follow you on Instagram? What is your Instagram handle for those that do want to come and follow you and, you know, take in all your content, etc.?
I would love for anyone to follow me. Welcome, like I say, to connect. So it's Nora & Co Aesthetics. You're probably better to, because my name is so long, I do realise that as well.
It's going to be tagged. It's going to be tagged on when I upload the replay as well into the hub. It has all of your contact details on it as well, and on YouTube, so it will all be linked on there anyway.
Yeah, like I say, for me, the most important thing is connections. Not every single person that connects and talks to me has to look in for a treatment. No. You know, so yeah, really looking forward to obviously meeting a few more people, and thank you so much for organising this, Yannah. Honestly, such a great idea.
No, absolutely fine. And thank you so much for taking the time to come out and speak to me, because you are so busy with life in general and work all the time. So no, absolutely incredible. And yeah, we'll do it again soon.
As well.
Yeah, I know. It's been lovely. I've loved it. I knew I would, but yeah, it's been good.
Me too. Thank you so much for everyone that joined as well.
Yes, thank you very much. And Katrina, yeah, it's not going to be long until your slot now, babe, either. So yeah.
I can't wait for yours, Katrina.
Yeah, Katrina's on soon. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah. All right then, everyone. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and I'll be back again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.